Today, it's a very somber video in my opinion. Today I want to talk about one of my biggest inspirations when it came to doing YouTube specifically. And that was none other than Boogie2988. He was a huge, I can't even, I guess I didn't really understand how big of an inspiration he was for me on YouTube when I started doing YouTube. I subscribed to him back in 2016. And he did so many things for me. You guys, it might just not be quite evident, but he inspired how I introduced the videos. Like, what's up, everybody? I'm back. Like, that's him. That's why I do that. A lot of my rants are based off his Francis sketches, except I don't play characters, so they're not as extreme, but they're still ragey and all that kind of stuff. Doing like the Mountain Dew and, some of the other funny stuff that I've done, and just doing like all sorts of randomized content came from him. And to me, to me, that's why it makes it a little bit more disappointing, since, the last 4 or 5 years, he's really declined as a YouTuber, and I think he's hit a point of no return at this point. Guys don't even know who Boogie is. He's a YouTuber. One of the older YouTubers, started back in 2006. He's also one of the older YouTubers on platforms. He's got over 4 million subs still. Peaked at over 4.5 million. He's down to near the just base 4 million mark now. And he used to be one of the most respected guys on the YouTube platform. Until for the first about 11 years, he was really respected. He he would do funny rants and sketches about how he was fat, and then introducing Francis and talking about video games and playing games and going out and stuff like that. But he also liked to open up about his personal life, how he grew up, and challenges that came from it, and what challenges his weight and his mental health and his background and all that kind of stuff too. And he would tell lots of fun stories about his life that were not necessarily about his past, but about his abusive past, but about just fun stuff that happened in his life, like eating a 72-ounce steak or that kind of thing. And those stories for a lot of people were very inspiring, and some of them I can even connect to on some level, not as huge, not nearly as huge of a level as like some other people probably can. But that's why he was so well respected, is because he was such he was a big figure to get a good laugh with the Francis stuff and the funny sketches and whatever. But he was also a guy you could do a nice connection to with his stories and his past and stuff like that. But nowadays, people don't see him as that, and it's not hard to see why. There's really a lot of people that still support him. Obviously, over 4 million subs, that's a hell of an amount. But a lot of people don't like him anymore, and a lot of people don't tune into his videos anymore. And personally, I'm still subscribed, and I'm going to keep being subscribed, but I'll tell you, I used to watch all the time when he uploaded. Now I don't. I barely click on a video anymore, and when I do, it's usually not for very long. And there's many reasons for that. Pinpoint a good time when I stopped really watching his videos religiously was around 2017, and that is around 2017 was a big year for Boogie, and I think that was the point of no return. Pinpoint the day Boogie's career took a turn for the worst was August 1st, 2017. That's when he got his gastric bypass surgery. He needed that gastric bypass surgery. He'd be dead if he didn't have that gastric bypass surgery. But I think people saw him as the big fat guy, and he wasn't as fat, and he lost a good amount of weight at the start when he got that, and he was. But what his channel turned into when he got the gastric bypass surgery was just talking about the weight and talking about losing it, why he got so fat, how hard it's been, and that kind of stuff. And it went on for a good 2 or 3 months of him just talking about the weight and talking about losing it, talking about the surgery. There was a delay in the surgery. He talked about that, talking about how long it took for him to get ready for the surgery, and that kind of thing, all the complications that came after the surgery, and that kind of stuff. That's all his videos were pretty much through the end of September or October, even though he got the surgery at the beginning of August. And even in July, there was a lot of videos about that too. And I support Boogie on that decision to get the gastric bypass surgery. I think he needed it desperately, and it saved his life. But what that did in turn, eventually the weight video stopped, and he would talk about other stuff, and he would talk about video games and Halloween and that kind of stuff. But another thing happened during that time as well is he got divorced from his wife. Wife filed for a divorce a couple weeks after the surgery. And man, that just sucks. Like, that is just a horrible timing for that to happen. I didn't expect them to get divorced when it happened. I remember being so shocked when he finally admitted to it, when he finally said it was happening. I think it was like December even, or I think January. So it was like 2018, early 2018. He finally talked about it. It was such a long process to get it all settled. But man, that was very shocking for me. I thought they had a great relationship, and I felt really bad for him, and I still do. It's not a great situation to be in. You get married, and they were married for they were together for 7 years. Dating or married, and that sucks, and I feel really bad for him in that regard. So what basically his channel turned into after he stopped talking about the weight was talking about his mental health, and it's been kind of like an on and off cycle since for the last 4 years, with a few exceptions. We'll get into that. It's just basically been him talking about, basically when the weight melted off, up here came out his head, and it showed that he really did not. He necessarily didn't fail, but his head wasn't in the right place. Still, he got the surgery only because he was forced to, pretty much, and he knew that. But he didn't work on up here first. And he said it took him years and years and years to even get mentally ready for the surgery, and I get that, I do, but I mean, that's basically what it turned into. A lot of it's just like, I'm not doing so great, rambling, depression sucks, but I'm getting through it. And, as much as I support that, and I want him to be good in mental health, and I want everybody to be good in mental health, I can connect on that in a way that I just don't want to describe on the channel. But basically, but it's been going on for 4 years. And people are seeing it more, not as much as him just trying to work through his problems, but more him just venting about them, trying to get clickbait off of them, trying to just complaining about them. And while I don't necessarily think that's true, I think Boogie's a more genuine and better guy than that. They have a point to some extent, and that is not backed up, and Boogie's defense is not backed up very well by who he is associated with on the YouTube community. Let's talk about him. McJuggernuggets. Jesse, I guess his name is. You guys probably don't even know who that is. I don't even know who he is. I never watched one of his videos. I only know him through Boogie and because of this Psycho Dad series thing, which is a lot like the Francis Rangers, except it's Francis yelling at somebody in the video instead of just ranting at the camera. And he breaks stuff and everything, and that was his most popular series. Well, this guy is extremely toxic to be around. I believe he has a version of multiple personality disorder, because he plays so many characters, and he's played those characters for so long and so evident that he's now those characters. He's just a character, and I think he's an extremely toxic person to be around, and that was shown very well, unintentionally well, when Boogie went back to his hometown in 2019. In one of my most that was a time when those 3 videos, which were the first one when he goes back to his town and they go through the town and everything. The second one when he goes to his mom's abandoned house, and the third one when he talks to his dead mother and grandparents at their resting place, and that's on Storyfire, a video sharing app that was created by McJuggernuggets, and it was pioneered by him and Boogie. That is a Storyfire, so there's a reason for that, and that's a good video and stuff like that, because Jesse doesn't talk in it. Because Jesse talks in the first 2, and he acts so entitled and so dumb. Why? He keeps ew, these guys are just waving to us. Oh, no. Oh, look at this town. It doesn't have 5 bars of 5G Wi-Fi. I'm like, come on, dude, shut the hell up. The Boogie's talking about his childhood here. At least have a little respect. Come on, man. But for some reason, Boogie loves this guy. They have a pretty close connection, and I don't know exactly why that is, and I don't need to know why that is. But to me, he seems like an extremely toxic person, and he's influenced Boogie probably in a lot of ways and I just don't think are very healthy. Another guy that's extremely toxic for clickbaiting is none other than Kid Behind the Camera. Now, Kid Behind the Camera is associated with the Anchor Grandpa show. Anchor Grandpa was Boogie's big inspiration for starting Francis, his trademark character, his trademark thing. And, you know, Kid Behind the Camera was the guy who would film him and work on that channel. He also has his own channel. This guy, his name is Michael, he is extremely toxic, even more toxic than Jesse, if you could believe it. He clickbaits every video. He milked the shit out of Angry Grandpa's death, which is just super immoral. Holy crap, it was so cruel. And he will milk anything and everything he can to get views because he knows he does not have good original content that he can do for actual views. And he can't find another job because he's too lazy to do other work. Like, seriously, dude. And Boogie loves this guy, too. I don't know exactly why. Like, there's no point in this, but there's no point in liking this guy. He has no good qualities as far as we can see. But, alas, that's what Boogie likes, and that's what Boogie wants, I guess. And that's, I don't know. That's probably where Boogie kind of got a little inspiration to do some clickbaiting of his own, which we'll get to a little bit later. But not nearly as severe as Michael does. And then the third guy we're talking about is Keemstar. And Keemstar, most recently, Boogie has been getting closer and closer with Keemstar. And I think Keemstar is also an extremely toxic person to be around. Because he loves to milk any little bit of drama he can for views. And at least he's not truly clickbaiting like Kid Behind the Camera does. He doesn't even do YouTube anymore. He quit YouTube and is now doing his drama alert series on Snapchat through a bar, which I think is extremely sad. But Boogie and Keemstar seemingly are pretty close as well. And who the fuck's gonna be close to Keemstar? Like, come on, Boogie. He was so much better than this, and and I think, you know, he's just looking for people to turn to, and I get that, and that sucks though. I don't think it's influenced him good at all. Another reason, he clickbaits his videos, and I think he does. I would call them clickbait in my opinion. They don't really work as bait. Sorry for my nose being extremely scratchy. I don't know why. But especially recently, like post Frank Hassel incident. Now that brought Boogie back into the light for all the wrong reasons. He fired a gun, and he admitted that was a very stupid thing to do. A lot of people are mad because they think they were biased towards him because he's a white male, a celebrity in the South, and you know, they let him go after only 4 hours of jail, and he posted bail. They should have made bail higher. People think it was in a school zone, and he confirmed it's not in a school zone. And you know, I don't know who to side. I don't know exactly who to side with. I side with Boogie pretty much on this situation. I don't agree with shooting the gun. I think Boogie's been very remorseful about shooting the gun. But a psychopath shows up to your door, and you have anxiety like Boogie does, which was the main reason why the divorce even happened, by the way. It was his anxiety. And, you know, you would have, I mean, the gun, he could have handled it better, but in his shoes, I understand the situation. Because I'm okay with him not going to jail. But, you know, that kind of sucks, you know, whatever. But, I mean, so that threw him into the light. But I think after that, I mean, he made merch off of it. Like, dude, really? And he goes into, like, these personal stories of his nowadays. And he promotes the merch halfway through. And he does, like, this stuff. He's like, I'm not gonna try to ask you all for money. I'm not gonna beg for money. I've got money. And then like 4 times throughout his video, he will beg for money and ask for money through his Patreon or through merch buying or that kind of stuff. Like, come on, dude. You're better than this. And, you know, he does all this sort of stuff, and he's trying to milk the shit out of this Frank Hassel. It's then just like Michael tried to milk the shit out of Angry Grandpa's death. While it's not nearly as immoral, it's still dumb, and it's still stupid. Leave it in the ground. I mean, he was so remorseful about it at the beginning, and now he's just not going to shut up about it, and that's so annoying. Like, the change for Boogie from when the day he got the gastric bypass surgery to where he is now is just sad. He used to be such a humble and good person. I think when the weight came off, so did that. The weight was kind of like the shield for Boogie. to protect us, I guess, from all the mental health things he was going through. Now that most of that weight's gone, like, he put some of it back on, but he's, like, exercising again, losing the weight. But, like, one thing is, like, right before his gastric bypass surgery, he did a video called, like, my last ever Mountain Dew. This is Diet Mountain Dew. He doesn't even drink that Dew. He dumps it in the fucking trash can. And he's like, yeah, I'm done with Mountain Dew. I'm going to get healthy, you know, that kind of stuff, because I won't be able to have it anymore before the surgery, and I can't have it after the surgery. Yet, in 2020, he goes back to drinking Mountain Dew, and he's, like, actually drinking it again. Even though it might be the zero sugar version, which is probably better for him, it's not great. Like, you pledge this, and then you go back on it. And that's a perfect example of how he did not fix up here first. Because he's trying to go back to old reliable, and it's not, well, he's been able to keep most of the weight off, and he's exercising again and getting that part. He's not, and at this point, being almost 50 years old, I don't think he's going to fix it. His brain, he's just too stubborn, too far gone, too old, and that's just a product of his age, and that's just a product of him being in the state for so long, which is extremely, extremely sad, and it kills me. I mean, it really does. But what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I can just keep talking in this camera about him all day. I mean, that kind of stuff. But, you know, what am I going to do? I mean, you know, there's all the stuff about him on his Twitch and that kind of thing. But you can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's basically the motto here. Another motto that I think he really follows is, epitomizes his career, and a lot, is you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. When Boogie accepted the gastric bypass surgery, he had a choice. He could either not get it and die within the next year, but be the hero that everybody knew him for, or he could get it, live a lot longer, but turn into this controversial villain that he is now. And obviously, you want to choose the living portion in his scenario, but that's the choice he got. And at this point, I don't think it's been almost 5 years now it's been over 5 years actually since he got the gastric bypass surgery. And it's really been about 4 since this whole thing's really started with him and his decline. And I still think his career's too far gone. I don't think he's really going to fix it. I want him to see him prove me wrong, though. Prove me wrong, Boogie. Come on, man. Make a big comeback here. You can do it. I want to hear about the gaming. I want to hear about going on adventures again. I want to hear about playing games and all this fun stuff. I don't want to hear about, I don't want you spend 20 minutes in a supposed to be serious video milking the shit out of your Frank Hassel situation. Come on, dude. Be the Boogie we know you can be again. I have faith that you can do it. I just have serious doubts that you will, because you are in a good position right now. You're going back to your old ways, just not giving a fuck about yourself, and I need you to do that, man. You're a pioneer. You're a big inspiration to me, and I need it to happen, man. But if you ever see this, Boogie, that's my message to you. Sorry what happened in your life, and I really hope that it improves, because you deserve it. You know, you inspired a lot of people. And you can continue to inspire a lot of people if you just put your heart to it, man. I have faith in you. Do it.